At the Chamber, we use 3 words to kind of focus our daily work, and that's recruit, retain, and incubate. A central partner in each one of those themes of recruiting, retaining, and incubating businesses in our efforts to promote economic development, job creation in Central Mass is the United States Small Business Administration. And I am thrilled to have with us our guests who are leaders at the SBA. Wendel Davis is the New England Regional Administrator for the United States Small Business Administration, and Bob Nelson, a longtime friend and partner, who is the District Director for Massachusetts. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, Tim.
Good to be here.
So maybe, Wendel, we can start. You know, if someone is not familiar with the United States Small Business Administration and some of the work that they do that's so important to supporting our businesses, creating new businesses, maybe you could just give us the elevator speech.
Yeah, that's a great foundational question to start off with. But let me tell you this: just over a year and a half ago, I was in the private sector, so I've learned a lot about the Small Business Administration just in the last year. I was in the private sector as an attorney, and I used to do SBA loans. And for me, the SBA world was simply guaranteeing loans, and kind of boring loans, right? Never, wait, what else do they do? And that's significant. The flagship programs are that lending program, and it's about $30 billion a year, which is a really monumental number. But in getting involved with the SBA in the last year and a half, I've been thoroughly amazed at the other programs that are out there. For example, federal contracting. 23% of all federal contracts are set aside for small businesses, and that's a $100 billion number. So those are incredible opportunities out there for small businesses. The other thing that was amazing too was all of the resource partners that the SBA has. The SCORE chapters, the retired executive volunteers, that's 10,000 people nationwide that help out the SBA.
Force multiplier.
Yeah, and the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers, all throughout the United States. So we have we help fund those organizations and their resource partners, along with our VBOCs, which are the Veteran Business Outreach Centers that do incredible work, and our WBCs, which are the Women Business Centers. So it's really been an eye-opener for me that there's all these incredible resources, and there's just so much to the SBA. It's been a great experience.
And Wendel, you mentioned the loan piece. I mean, Bob, that's a big element, and how we try to get the word out to small businesses or businesses that are thinking about, you have a potential partner here.
That's where we really shine here in Massachusetts with our loan programs. And last year we were number 5 in the entire country with helping small businesses with access to capital. And so our smallest loan was $2,000. We go all the way up to $5 million. We don't lend the money directly, but what we do is we provide a guarantee in order to help those businesses to secure capital. And any stage of the business, so we do pure startups, existing businesses, expansion, change of ownerships, you name it, SBA can play a role to help that business with the capital needs.
And Bob, that issue kind of crystallized to me. I think it was a joint event we were kind of doing, and we had a panel, and there's a gentleman on the panel who was kind of talking about his kind of experiences in those first 2 years in starting his technology business. And he said, he was so preoccupied how he was going to meet weekly payroll. He said until his banker introduced him to SBA, and they worked out a plan that he had some cash flow, a cushion with that loan to then focus on delivering for his customers and growing his business. And that just gave him that runway, if you will.
You need 2 aspects. Right. So you need the capital, that's the fuel, but you have to have the knowledge and skills to be successful. And so that's where our partner network, and especially here in the central part of the state with our Clark Small Business Development Center, our SCORE chapter, which operates out of your chamber, and the Center for Women in Enterprise. Amazing partners with providing one-on-one business advisory and mentoring, tons of workshops, but SBA's online learning platform. It's really important that small businesses know about the opportunities for them to, get their questions answered and to feel comfortable and confident with what they're doing.
Yeah, and the partnership between the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce and SCORE has been long-standing. I said it on the show. I actually, my first experience with the chamber when I was in high school and worked in the mailroom. I was the courier, set up the tables and broke them down. But SCORE was a partner then, and every day we share space with SCORE at the chamber. And are referring them as businesses have questions about how they grow and expand or want to start, particularly with the Startup Worcester program, where we're working to incubate and start up businesses, many of them recent college grads or immigrant entrepreneurs, and SCORE is vital to that. Similarly, as you mentioned, Wendel, right down the street, at Clark University, Massachusetts Small Business Development Center, another huge resource.
And I think an important emphasis on that is that although the loans aren't free, all of our resource partners, all these incredible people that are going to work with you, that's all free. So you're crazy not to take advantage of the skills that they have.
And so if a viewer is watching the show and they're thinking about creating a small business, or they have a family member, or a recent college grad is thinking about a business venture, to your point, Wendel, hugely important, you've got experienced business owners who are retired, or some are still active business owners, but want to give back and pass on that entrepreneurial experience and business acumen to others. They'll kind of counsel and mentor someone who's thinking about starting a business, of things to look for and how to be proactive, and what a great resource.
Small businesses are often risking it all in order to get that business launched. And so what I suggest is that they meet with all of our resource partners to try to build a consensus for what their plan is and what their model is and what they're trying to do. We want to prevent them from making mistakes.
Belts and suspenders, right?
Absolutely. So meet them all, schedule appointments. All it's going to cost you is some time.
Right. And I give a great example just to kind of get an understanding of the knowledge that is out there that you can tap into. I had a gentleman come up to me and he had a script, and he was on his own. He was trying to figure out a way to develop a script for a movie, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I can help you, but let me call SCORE. And sure enough, through their 10,000 folks that are nationwide, they found somebody, I believe, out in Washington, who wrote the script for Deer Hunter.
Wow.
The movie back I think the 1980s. And they put him in contact. So they've been going back and forth now on that. And who would have thunk it, so to speak, that you would have been able to find a connection. So no matter what your product is, or no matter what your service is, between SCORE and SBDC and the WBCs, there's going to be a match there, and they're going to be able to help you out.
Good stuff. And one of the programs, Bob, that I know we're talking into our second year, but the Emerging Leaders Program, maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the Emerging Leaders Program has been around for 11 years. This is the 12th year. Last year I moved it from Boston to Worcester.
Second year here, right?
Second year here in Worcester. And last year's class was amazing. We had 19 phenomenal businesses go through that course. It starts in April, goes through October, 40 hours of in-classroom time, but there's out-of-class time in CEO mentoring groups. I have not met a business that has gone through that course who has not praised it and the value of it. And again, it's a free resource offered by the SBA. We're in the process right now of recruiting this class for 2019. So if there are businesses out there that meet the requirements, they're pretty easy to meet. You have to have income of at least $250,000. We want you to have at least one employee beyond the owner of the business. And we want you to be passionate about growing jobs. This is a job creation program, but revenues of $250,000 or greater. But connect with the SBA, but go onto a website to register your expression of interest, and this program fills up, and we'll be at capacity.
But sometimes people ask the question, where does my tax dollars go? What does it go into? But I mean, this is a great program. I just think this data point is worth sharing. But since its inception of this program in 2008, the SBA's Emerging Leaders Initiative has trained over 5,000 small business owners. And you described that the typical small business, couple employees, owner, kind of helping run the show, handful of employees, creating over 65. This has created over 6,500 jobs, generating over $300 million in new financing, and securing, to Wendel's point, over $3.16 billion in government contracts.
And this program, it's an intensive program. You're learning a lot. And we had I'm fortunate enough, I get to go to all the award ceremonies oftentimes. And one of our winners in Rhode Island had talked to me, he was getting an executive MBA from Duke at the same time. And he talked about how, in his opinion, he brought more from his Emerging Leaders class to Duke than Duke brought to his Emerging Leaders class. So some pretty powerful testimony out there.
Well, the SBA thing probably SBA Emerging Leaders Program populated by business owners and real life examples.
Exactly.
But we have so many successes of businesses that have graduated through that program. And, I think of Renee King of Queen's Cup.
This is
Valentine's Day. I'm sure she is busy as heck today.
That's Valentine's month. If you haven't gotten your cupcakes, go down to Queen's Cups at Drake Chamber of Business here in Worcester.
But when you really look at her story on how she started with nominal capital, help with her parents, starting the business out of the kitchen in and where she is right now and the number of people that she's employing and growing
Right.
the economy and growing jobs, it's an amazing success story. So for businesses that are interested in becoming an emerging leader, the website is interise.org.
Interise.
interise.org/SBA Emerging Leaders. But you can just contact anyone at my office, and we'd be glad to help you out and take that as expression of
Bob,
interest.
we've got to get more government leaders like you to recognize Worcester's central part of the state, easy access, great amenities. Another nice event, the Wendel, you talked about giving out awards, but we've got National Small Business Week Awards luncheon coming up in Worcester at Assumption College Wednesday, March 8th. It's just a minute or two we got. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, Bob, you want to talk
Yeah.
about it? That's a great
So
event.
again, to your point, we're trying to serve the entire Massachusetts population, so Worcester is perfect. And so having our small business awards event at Assumption College, it just makes sense. And
Small Business Person of the Year, Small Business Exporter of the Year.
yeah, we're in the process of judging those nominations right now.
Like the
I can tell
Academy
you,
Awards,
I
yeah.
can tell you, we
It is
received a
fun.
good number of nominations, some amazing businesses, and from all over the state. But we're doing our fourth annual event with the Chamber,
Right,
the
Worcesterpreneurs.
Worcesterpreneurs event at Holy Cross.
Holy Cross this
and
year,
so
yeah.
looking forward to that. That's been a hugely successful partnership between the Chamber and the SBA.
Right,
so-
reaching out to communities maybe that may not be familiar with what the Chamber does, what the SBA does. I mean, as we look at Worcester's demographics and just, as you know from your data, disproportionately immigrant minority-owned businesses, one of the fastest growing fastest growing pieces of small business formulation.
And if I had to sum up last year was the year of the woman. If you look at the statistics that are starting to come in now, over 1,800 businesses per day were opened up by women. And if you look comparably from 2012 to 2017, it was about 900 small businesses. So women are really hitting their stride in this entrepreneurial climate that's taken off. Another thing too is, and you had mentioned Worcester. Worcester's the second largest city in New England, so
right.
it's important that there's a focus here. And if there's one thing that Linda McMahon, my boss, has told me, she said, get your butt out of that Boston office. And as a result, we've been over to Pittsfield, we were in Springfield, and we're here in Worcester. So we're trying to emphasize a lot of these other communities that don't necessarily get the attention that they deserve.
No, well, that's appreciated here in Central Massachusetts very much. Wendel Davis, the New England Regional Administrator for the United States Small Business Administration, and our friend Bob Nelson, the District Director for Massachusetts. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us, and look forward to our continued partnership.